this is, a thing that makes me a little bit nervous when we're paying for service and stuff doesn't happen and there seems to be no notification. So, but I'm fully confident the staff is going to resolve the matter. And the second thing is I'm told that we have a new traffic engineer, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Timothy Bochum. And I apologize if I messed your name up, but welcome aboard. I'm looking forward to working with you. So thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilman McDonald. Moving on to the consent agenda, the City Clerk's Department, it's approval of the minutes. And the recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee approve the minutes for September 8th, 2020 regular meeting as presented. Have we any suggestions from the council members? Committee members?
If there's no discussion, I'll move approval.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Flynn.
Aye.
Member McDonald.
Aye.
Chair Perillo.
Yes.
The motion
Thank you.
carries 3-0.
Moving on to item D1, reports. Public Works Department, purchase order for Velocity Truck Centers. Recommendation that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council authorize, the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute a purchase order and sole source authorization for Velocity Truck Centers in the amount of $400,286.40 for 3 new Autocar brand yard tractors for the wastewater and environmental resources divisions. And we will have a presentation.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Tian. I'm the Assistant Public Works Director, and Todd Housley is out of the office today. So let's talk a little bit about wastewater first, and then we'll go to ER, the need for a yard tractor. So as part of the wastewater treatment process, we generate biosolids. We generate lots of them, 88 wet tons per day. So those are typically dumped into a container inside a building, and then we have a tractor trailer to move them out to a designated location for the contractor to pick up and dispose them. So as you can see here, this is the current truck that we have. It was a 1989 model. It's not very reliable. So staff is asking to replace this vehicle. So the second one is ER. As part of the MRF, the Del Norte process, once all the solid waste, green waste, and all the materials are in, we typically on a time clock. So we have 12 transfer trucks to get them out ASAP because we can't store a lot of materials on the daily basis. That's the permit requirement. So we have 12 transfer truck, but with no yard tractor, which is a smaller unit that can maneuver inside the process area so that we can move those trailers in a designated area for those trucks to pick up and haul it to the landfills. Currently, we haul it to Toland Road and Simi landfills. Here's what a yard tractor looks like. They're a lot more compact, smaller, and can swing in and out in a tight spot area. So the fleet division help wastewater and ER research what's the best source of procurement. So they ended up with a Sourcewell contract, and the local authorized dealer is Velocity Truck Centers. So for financial impact, so once again, the total cost is $400,286.40, and wastewater's portion is $133,428 and change, and the remaining would be picked up by ER because wastewater only needed 1, environmental resources needed 2 of them. That's my presentations, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ng. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments on this matter?
No.
Committee members, do you have questions?
I don't.
I have none.
Okay, Mr. Ng, one question specifically. underneath the recommendation, it states, the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend the city council approve and authorize the mayor to execute a purchase order and sole source authorization. What is the definition of sole source authorization?
So basically, this is where Sourcewell comes from. So what we do is instead of sending the RFP or request for bid for different vendors and someone we don't know of, we piggyback on, I think this one is with Los Angeles County. So throughout those, what they do is they requested a whole bunch of proposal at the beginning of the year for the best price. And what we do is we piggyback on that to get the best price
Thank you very
as
much.
part of the competitive bid.
Thank you very much for that explanation, because I'm sure there are some people that would assume that we're steering work to specific companies, and we are not doing that. We're getting the best bang for the buck for the residents of Oxnard on their money, their tax dollars being spent. What is the life expectancy of these vehicles that we're purchasing?
Mr. Chair, for wastewater, because the mileage is low, I would say probably, judging by history, probably more than 10 years before they come back to the podium and ask for a new one. For ER, unfortunately, those are very high usage. I would say plus or minus 7 years.
Okay, thank you. And are we receiving any trade-in value or scrap value for the ones that they're replacing?
Those three existing, one existing vehicle from wastewater will be auctioned off separately.
And the others, there's nothing
No
else?
other, because environmental resources requested 2 new ones, no existings.
All right, and the photograph of the old one there, what's going to be done with that one?
It will be auctioned off.
Okay, thank you very much. Those are my only questions. And is there any discussion? Committee?
I'll move the recommended action.
Okay, we have a motion. I'll second the action. Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Member Flynn,
Aye.
Member McDonald,
Aye.
Chair Perillo.
Yes.
The motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. On the next item, is item D2. The subject, amendment to Ventura Regional Sanitation District and Waste Management Incorporated Agreement. The recommendation, there's 3 recommendations. I'll read them. That the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize, number 1, the mayor to execute a second amendment, beg your pardon, let me start that line over. Number 1, the mayor execute a second amendment to agreement number A5906 with the Ventura Regional Sanitation District to extend the term for 90 days ending February 12th, 2021 for solid waste disposal. Number 2, the mayor to execute a first amendment to the amended and restated agreement to amendment number A-7618 with Waste Management to extend the term for 90 days ending February 12th, 2021 for solid waste disposal. And number 3, the city manager to extend the term dates for an additional 90 days if necessary. There is a background and we'll have a presentation. I need to make a statement prior to the start of this discussion. I serve as the representative for the city of Oxnard on the Ventura Regional Sanitation District Board. I am the current chair of that organization. I had requested this information be shared with all board members. I was of the Ventura Regional Sanitation District. I was informed that I would be violating the Brown Act, and so it has not been shared. My sincerest hopes are that someone from the Ventura Regional Sanitation District is paying attention to this item. Please go ahead, staff.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. This is Tien again, and again, Todd is out of the office. Mr. Chair, thank you for doing the most difficult slide, so I'll move on to slide number 2. Currently, our solid waste disposal haul off to 2 landfills, Tolan Road Landfill and Simi Valley Landfill. As you all know, those contracts were done in 2013, and both of them will expire November 14 this year. So in June of this year, the city issued a request for proposal to solicit solid waste disposal services. The RFP was sent to directly mail to 3 landfills operations: Waste Management at CME, Ventura Regional Sanitation District at the Tolan Road Landfill, and Waste Connection Inc., what we call the Chiquita Canyon Landfill. The RFP was also posted on the city website and also publicpurchase.com. So prior to the due date, the city received 2 proposals, Waste Management and Ventura Regional Sanitation District. Both proposals presented multiple scenarios of landfill capacities and disposal costs. For example, if we take 30% of your solid waste, here's what my unit price is. If we take 50, here's the price. If we take 100%, here's what the cost is. That's what we meant by the options scenarios. So we looked at it and we decided that we need more time because we have questions on their request for proposal. And therefore, we come before you, request the committee and city council to approve the extension of the existing agreements. So there's no additional cost today to approve the extension of the amendments. All the current rates with VRSD and Waste Management shall remain the same. And that concludes my presentation. Now I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ng. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments on this item?
No, there aren't.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Committee members, do you have comments, concerns?
I have just one comment, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just really appreciate staff taking the time to look at this thoroughly, and instead of trying to rush something through and get a signature on it right away, that they're asking to extend it to so they can do some more due diligence. So I think that makes perfect sense, and I'll support this.
And Mr. Chair.
Mayor? Yes, Mayor.
Yes. So I understand this is an extension with both of these entities, and so I have no problem with that, doing that. And my concern, of course, and I know that will be a future agenda item, is just revisiting the issue of landfills. Committee Chair or Chairman Perello, I know that you're on the Ventura Regional Sanitation District, and again, there's always we need representation there, but just that global view of trash and what we're doing. You know, there's been a lot, even with the previous item, about solid waste and biomass that we currently send to the Ventura Regional Sanitation District. I think just all those issues, it's for me personally, it helps understand just how we're not only managing cost in the future, but what we're really looking at for overall cost savings for dumping, the bio waste and all of that. I'm just really curious how and when we're going to get to those items.
Okay, thank you very much for the comments. I'm very grateful that the city of Oxnard is going to take the extra time, and it is a compliment to the staff that they want to make sure that they get the best thing going. We have an obligation to serve our residents to the very best of our ability. We also are a member of the local community of other cities and other agencies within the county of Ventura, and we do our best to assist in keeping things going, that everybody is happy and everybody is getting equal treatment under the rules and the contracts, and that it's a square deal for everyone. There is one thing that I will share. The management of the VRSD is in the process of going through a conditional use permit request for the Tolan landfill. That item is of major interest in the entire county of Ventura. Very big interest. There had been direction that the management present to all the communities of the 9 board members that sit on that board. The cities of Santa Paula, Ojai, Fillmore, Camarillo, Port Hueneme, Oxnard, Ventura, Thousand Oaks, and 1 representative from special districts. To my knowledge, there's never been a presentation of why the CUP should be of interest to the city of Oxnard. I regret that I brought it to the attention, but could be, timing issue. But I will definitely support this matter. In looking through these pages and looking at the signatures on some of the items when these contracts were entered into and the things in the history that's gone on, it's very significant, a little bit of history for the public. I support moving forward with this. And if there are no other comments, Madam Clerk, please take the roll. I'm begging your pardon. Nobody made us. Do we have a motion on this item?
It's the mayor's turn.
Sorry about that. Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Flynn,
Aye.
Member McDonald,
Aye.
Chair Perrello.
Yes.
The motion to
Moving-
approve carries 3-0.
Thank you very much. And moving on to item 3 of the agenda. Item 3. This is a Caltrans landscape maintenance agreement with wagon wheel reimbursement agreement. I'll read the recommendation. It's a 2-part recommendation. And I need a clarification, Madam Clerk. We approved the last item unanimously. That covers all 3 points on that item, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. On this particular item, there are 2 points. The recommendation is the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend the City Council authorize the city manager to execute number 1, agreement number A8238 between the State of California Department of Transportation, Caltrans, and the City of Oxnard for landscape maintenance within the right-of-way of State Highway 101 within the city. And number 2, agreement number A8239 between Wagon Wheel Master Property Owners Association, which is identified as the Master Association, and the Wagon Wheel Community Facilities District, CFD, number 2018-01, an agency formed by the city for landscape maintenance funding. And we'll have a presentation, please.
Good morning, Chair, members of the
Good morning,
committee.
Mr. Smith. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. So this morning we have the 2 agreements before you today are, it's another important part of the process and the development of Wagon Wheel, which is, Wagon Wheel is part of the village specific plan, which covers approximately 60 acres of land, 1,500 dwelling units, over 50,000 square feet of commercial space, and then when fully built out, over 7 acres of open space. Drilling further down a little bit, we have the boundaries of the Community Facilities District, or the CFD, which is the subject of today's presentation. So in July 2015, we had an amendment to the area's development agreement, which required CFD to form, which would fund development and maintenance of public improvements. And these included public parks, public landscaping, a multi-use path, which we call the MUP, which includes exercise equipment, the MUP bridge, street lighting, retaining walls, sidewalks, stormwater facilities, flood improvements, as well as a Caltrans landscape area. In December 2016, the CFD was officially formed. And as part of the progress of the development, in November 2019, that MUP design was improved, contingent, of course, on Caltrans authorizing the MUP to encroach in their right of way. And the developer's town square apartment building phase also was designed contingent upon the MUP encroachment in the Caltrans right of way. So where we are now in 2020, Currently, the building permits for the developer's town square development phase is on hold until Caltrans approves the MUP encroachment, which Caltrans will allow under one of the agreements today, which is the landscape maintenance agreement. And what that will do, first off, Caltrans will only enter an agreement with a governmental entity such as the city. So under the LMA, the Landscape Maintenance Agreement, the city is going to be responsible for the maintenance of the improvements that the developer installs in that Caltrans right away. And in a subsequent slide, I'll show you that right away. And that will include landscaping and irrigation, a portion of that multi-use path, which includes an exercise station, some lighting and security cameras. There'll be a Caltrans parking stall and fence and gates. And the annual maintenance cost for the area that the agreement covers is approximately $24,000, which will be paid exclusively by the Wagon Wheel CFD. So here is a map of the multi-use path. So on the right, you can see here, here's the the Caltrans area that we're talking about, which includes portions of that multi-use path. Oxnard Boulevard's on the east, the freeway to the north, Ventura Road to the west. Drilling down a little bit further, you can see the Caltrans property, which is essentially this area here. And you can see that that multi-use path, it'll be about 16 feet wide upon completion, goes through their property. This will include the lighting, the exercise station, etc. So that's for the landscape maintenance agreement. The second agreement before you is a reimbursement agreement between the CFD and the Master Association of Wagon Wheel. And what that will do is will not only maintain the areas in the Caltrans right away, the landscape maintenance agreement items, but it'll also maintain other improvements throughout the community. And what that would be upon Wagon Wheel being fully built out will be 3 parks, the multi-use path, exercise equipment, lighting, public landscaping, the Caltrans area, as well as the cities is going to be maintaining the area's storm drain units, flood protection, the multi-use path and pedestrian bridge, as well as administrative overhead costs, all with CFD funds. You break that down further, the HOA maintenance using CFD funds would be $382,000, and those areas that the city will maintain will be reimbursed with the CFD funds in the amount of approximately $204,000. So here's a broad overview of the Wagon Wheel development. Essentially, everything here will be maintained by the Master Association with that reimbursement from the CFD. Everything except the teal area here. However, everything else, the dark blue area, which include the parks, here's the MUP up here. The multi-use path goes along the northern edge. This area up here is the Caltrans right-of-way property. This will all be maintained by the Master Association through a reimbursement agreement through the CFD. Doesn't include any general fund dollars. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions. I also have available Corey Harpole with Oakwood Communities, developer at Wagon Wheel, as well as Heather Davis, planner from Rincon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. Nice presentation. I have one question before I ask if there's any public or the other committee members. If we can go back to the last slide, you said something and there was exclusion of the teal colored area. Can you please, I may have misunderstood your comment. You made a comment about the teal colored area.
Correct. The teal colored area will be maintained by the property owner.
Okay,
not the
thank you very
CFD.
much. Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments on this item?
No, we don't.
Thank you very much. Committee members, do you questions or discussion?
I have none.
Okay, Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question to Mr. Smith. Thanks very much for the presentation. And I think it's important to note that this formation of this area is the CFD. And Mr. Smith, does that allow, most importantly, for the costs of maintaining these areas to go up, over time as prices increase and the costs go up, that they're going to be covered by the formation of a CFD.
Correct. The formation documents, we do have the ability to raise the assessments in subsequent years.
And Mr. Chair and Committee Member McDonald, I know that we're in the process of looking at the very same issue citywide, and I just hope it's done in a very expeditious manner. So thank you very much. Those are my only questions.
Thank you. If we could go back to the 5th slide, please. It's the one that starts with July 2015. And on that first, actually the first bullet point, but the bullet point underneath it, it's the last line. It says Caltrans landscape areas. The words before that, flood improvements. I don't, is there any new update on the flood improvements? The reason I ask this, I recently had the opportunity, along with a representative from Watershed Protection, to meet with the developer and got a tour and discuss some of the things going on. And my understanding is there will be a meeting coming up very shortly with our Public Works, County Watershed Protection, the developer, on this matter. Is there anything new that you can add to that, Mr. Smith?
I cannot. However, I can find out unless, Brian?
Okay, well, if we don't know at this present time, that's all right, and we'll get an answer in the future. But I just want to let people know that that was a discussion. The developer and his representatives, the representative may be in the audience, and he may be able to address that. But thank you, Mr. Smith. The second question I have, and the second compliment, or the first compliment, I really appreciate the type of pointer that we're using where we can highlight exactly what you're looking at and the public can see it. I think that should be standard operating procedure anytime we're doing something where it is the staff is comfortable and knows the subject matter back and forth, but as the public is watching it, it's the first time seeing it. That thing works really well. The question that the mayor asked with respect to the CFDs, I'm grateful that the response that we got, they can go up because of the things that we've learned in the past with other areas where this was not included in the problems that have come forward. I support this. And any further discussion by the council, by the committee? I apologize, by the committee. If not, what is the recommendation?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Member Flynn,
Aye.
Member McDonald,
Aye.
Chair Perrello.
Yes.
The motion to approve carries 3-0.
And with that, we get to the end of the meeting where let's see, where items for future agendas. And Mayor, Councilman McDonald, do you have any items for future agendas? I know that we're supposed to be getting an update on the numbers of items that we've requested and what's going on. The city manager has assured us that's coming up very soon. But do we have any new things that we want to address?
Mr. Chair, just a quick comment if I could.
Please go ahead, Mr. McDonald.
I appreciate all the effort that Mr. Zuniga has put into the background. He's done a very good job. And it's probably just me, but I at times take up a lot of space on my screen just because of the position of my camera and the size of my iPad. And I'm thinking maybe that the Oxnard logo would do better at the top of the screen instead of the bottom. Because as I move around, I tend to block it sometimes. I'd like it to be seen most of the time.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Sorry.
You look really good on that background, though. I got to say, the marbling in the background and the way they've improved, it's made it much better. And I think your point's well taken because sometimes I block it out too. Mayor, do you have any comments?
Yes, I do. I just want to say to the committee that I did have a conversation recently with the Public Works Director about the Intelligent Traffic System, ITS, and it was very revealing. And I know that committee member McDonald has also had a very keen and unique interest in the ITS. And I'm hoping at some point the staff can come back to the Public Works Committee and give us a quick update.
Okay, thank you. I believe this is one of them we're still going to get forward, and I don't know if it's going to go to public safety or if it will come back to public works. I think it borders on both, and both committees will be equally interested. I got another question from residents in Rio Manor near the financial tower with respect to the issue that had come up in the past when we found out about the water pressure issue with the fire hydrants and the private water company. And then the ongoing investigation in other areas. And I had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Alexander Hamilton, the interim fire chief, recently brought it to his attention. Apparently it is a concern of this. There is strong interest on their area with respect to that. And I'm hoping we can get a resolution onto what is the plan going forward if we have areas that are not meeting the current pressure requirements. And if there's no other comments, unless the city. And I hear nothing. Ms. Gaglione, do you have anything you want to say, or Mr. Fisher? Hearing nothing. Okay.
No.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, gentlemen.
Take care.